Hi, my name is Brianna Kerr. I'm presenting a design proposal for an interactive drawing wall based around the idea of encouraging playfulness in 18 to 35-year-olds, incorporating the use of sound-based design. Firstly, I'll briefly outline initial research conducted through various workbook activities, then outline further research taken, and finally discuss the overall design being proposed. Activity 1 was to observe different sounds around us and then visually represent them. I undertook this activity in the Brisbane CBD during peak hour traffic as I figured it would give me a variety of interesting sounds. I found that the sound I ended up liking the most was the rhythm made by different footsteps, especially as when layered with the noise of traffic, it created a very melodic outcome. Activity 2 involved pitching various ideas to peers and our tutor for feedback, and later reflecting upon this to further refine design ideas. From feedback and refinement I knew I didn't want to work with the concept of mutual aid. I instead chose to focus on self-care and playfulness, leaning more towards self-care at this point. Activity 3 was to look at different acts of self-care, mutual aid, and playfulness, and describe what sounds we would attribute to them. I found that most of the sounds I associated with these were more upbeat and rhythmic. Around this point, I changed my focus from self-care to playfulness. Activity 4 was to reflect upon relevant research for your design idea, as well as relevant professional projects. Having decided upon a play-based idea, I looked into the concepts of playfulness and sound, playfulness in adults, and color and sound. This research highlighted the positive effects sensorial input has on playfulness, how playfulness differs between children and adults, and the historical relationship between color and sound. The projects I looked at were all wall-based interactive installations, primarily motion and sight-based. These utilized user interactions extremely effectively, although in different ways. The research and projects helped me to further understand what gaps were missing in my project. Activity 5 was based around sensorial exploration, redesigning your project based around senses that weren't sound. Taste was the most difficult to figure out, but focusing on single senses made it easier to see where the concept could be expanded upon or improved for a more well-rounded and engaging experience. Activity 6 was to outline your final concept and create a storyboard showing an example user interaction. For this, I chose to depict a single-player option of the drawing wall, as it effectively showed various features of the project, such as the playback feature when finished with the drawing. After completing the workbook, further research was done in regards to the relationship explored between colour and sound, such as Isaac Newton's colour wheel relating different notes and refracted light through a prism. Different experiences people have had with synesthesia was also looked at. However, I decided to leave the colour and sound correlation in the project as an overlap between the RGB spectrum and the chromatic scale, similar to what is described by Newton, but not quite the same. I also further looked into the interactions based around the cube based at QUT Gardens Point. It utilizes motion input and user interactions for an incredibly engaging visual output that doesn't necessarily use audio. Some of the interaction games do use sound, such as the dinosaur game, however, it's more for immersion than as a reaction or interaction. The final design concept ended up as an interactive drawing installation wall. To make the experience more playful to 18 to 35-year-olds, a multiplayer function was included, as playfulness in adults has been shown to be heavily social interaction based. The audio output was decided as a piano, as an easily recognizable instrument that users could play with. Volume factors were also considered to create more dimension within the experience for users. Audio would play whilst the users interact with the installation, and then when the users decides that the drawing is complete, they are able to see and hear a visual and audio playback of what they have created. Both abstract and more refined designs would have an enjoyable outcome for users, especially in regards to creating a playful experience for them. Users also would have the option of following preset color and line paths to create recognizable or simple songs and rhythms. This adds in a more game-like element to the installation, something that is very commonly found to be playful. Playfulness in adults is something that is rarely recognized as something that is important. However, playfulness is not always childish, and is well documented in having positive effects on people. Thank you.